The 4th century was the century in which Christianity became the official religion of the empire, but too late to prevent its collapse, and the Arian crisis occurred in the 4th century. In the year 313, the Emperor Constantine became a Christian. He saw in a dream the sign of the cross in the sky with the words, "Under this sign you will conquer." Not very theological, but that was what a man like him could understand. Many pagan temples were converted to Catholic churches. Pope Sylvester was given a large sum of money by Constantine. Now the church could emerge from the shadows. And at last the bishops could all get together and held the very first Council of Bishops, the Ecumenical Council, the first one since the Apostles. This was the Council of Nicaea, where they wrote what we now call the Nicene Creed. And Constantine also built a new city, which he named Constantinople after himself, in a very secure location far to the east. And in the second half of the 4th century lived the 3 great fathers of the Latin Church, St. Jerome, St. Augustine of Hippo, and St. Ambrose. St. Jerome settled in Bethlehem and taught himself Hebrew and Greek so that he could make an accurate translation of the Bible into Latin. About Hebrew he said, "Oh Lord, how I sweated over that terrible language." all the Hebrew letters seem almost the same, and they don't bother to put the vowels in because they already know what they are, which doesn't help if you don't know and you're trying to learn. But he did all of that. St. Ambrose of Milan was a wonderful bishop in an age when many of the rich and great were heretics or still pagan. He held a great debate with the pagans in front of the emperor, and he won. In those days, if you heard a debate and somebody won, you actually believed it. You thought that thinking counted for something. And St. Ambrose also said, "The emperor is in the church, he is not over the church." A later emperor said, "I know of no man except Ambrose who deserves the name of bishop." St. Augustine lived in Hippo in northwestern Africa. He wrote beautiful books of the things of God, including his own life story, which have been read in every later age. He was very sorry for the sins of his early youth and wrote, "Late have I loved thee, O Lord." And the 4th century was the century of the Arian crisis. This went on for a long time. The Arians tried to deal with the mysteries of the faith by explaining them away. They taught that Jesus Christ was a creation of God the Father, the best of the creations, but just a creation. There's a kind of simplified version of the faith, and the Goths took to it, and it was almost the universal religion for a very long time, especially because the great and the powerful, the aristocrats, went Arian. And only Bishop Athanasius and his followers stood absolutely firm. It was Athanasius contra mundum, Athanasius against the world. Athanasius told the faithful, "They have the churches, but we have the faith. Which is the more important?" The Catholics fled into the desert, and Athanasius himself was excommunicated 4 times, once with the authority of Pope Liberius himself to preserve unity. The way they got to Pope Liberius, as it's reported, torture didn't work, but flattery did.